the end.
Such bitter moment.
It's over.
Not really.
No.
No. Y'all are
Yeah.
stuck with us for a good 36 more cards.
But this is undisputably an endings card.
Absolutely. If
It really is. This is
yeah, it's
like,
dead. It's dead, Jim.
it is over. Is it more dead than death, would you say? Or more ended?
Actually, I think it is, because death leaves an open transition from what was to something new, where this is not going to get up and be a different version of itself or a transformation of itself. This is done. It's over. It's so over. Whoever, I'm excited. Okay. Death goes on. Does that make sense? Death is eternal, even as himself.
I do think of death as death, not necessarily physical death.
Right, but an ending of something that transforms into something else.
I don't know that it necessarily does. It might do. I don't know if I agree with you about that. It might do. I'm not saying that's not possible with the death card, but
it has more of a chance.
I just think they're both pretty kind of, you need to accept. If you're taking them literally, like, you know, before you start getting into the other possibilities, and there are other possibilities, right? Because I've got a story of one, but if you are I think both of them are absolutely, like, if somebody said to me, is this relationship going to kind of carry on, or is it going to end? And I got the death card upright, or this card upright, I would say it's going to end.
Oh yeah, I'm not
in any doubt about it. Whereas if I got something like, let's just say I got something like the Five of Cups, even though that's quite a sad card and it's about a loss, it still shows you those two upright cards. I don't think that's necessarily quite as over as either of these, if that makes any sense.
And in that same scenario, what I'm seeing with the death card is, yeah, it's going to end, but you're still going to see him around. They're still going to have contact with him. With the 10, it is completely, irrevocably, unresuscitatively over. It was done with such violence and such malice. The death card itself has no malice. We all die. It's a natural.
Yes. This is more brutal.
Yeah, this was done on purpose.
Yeah, I would agree. The nature of how you die, this is quite nasty.
Yeah.
Well, to say the least. And the fact that it's the 10, and it's kind of like they've done quite a thorough sort of job to make sure that it 100% this will breathe no longer.
Yeah, not at all. And we don't know if it was one person who stabbed him 10 times or 10 people that stabbed him. As this is totally makes me think of the Caesar story, you know, Et tu, Brute, where the whole Congress came in and just stabbed him to death because he was just out of control.
Right.
Yeah. Has that very Caesar card to it. Feel, not card.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm hard pressed. Now we've got the sun, you know, the sky lightning in the background. But to me, it looks like it's too late. I still, you know, yeah, he might be dying as he's watching the sun come up. But it's still, he's still not going anywhere.
No, it's over.
Yeah.
It is over. It is done. We are done here, as they say.
Yeah.
I do sometimes get this card and it's a relief to people.
So much so. In fact, we touched on that with the Nine of Swords, that anger, that anxiety, that fear of what's going to happen. And in this card, it finally happens. It's over. You don't have to you do have to move on and repair from it, because this doesn't mean you're going to just die. This means that whatever the situation was is unrecoverable. So you
Yeah,
have to go on without that. It's still going to be difficult, but you're not trapped in that perpetual fear and anxiety of loss. Does that make sense? This is a relief. I would rather see this card than the 9 any day of the week, because this is a finality to where you can say, you ever been in a situation where you really liked somebody or wanted to be a part of somebody's life, and they just kind of ghosted you and pretended you didn't exist, and we make up these flippant things in our heads and make excuses for them and hold on to them when they're already gone. This is finding out, yeah, he's gone, they're gone, she's gone, whatever, and being able to finally let go.
yeah. This is giving something absolute closure, isn't it? And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's it.
It
But
is a
I
relief.
have had people that it's like, oh my God, thank God. I just thought it was never going to end, right? You know, thank God for that. I've been sick of this, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
mean, it
he's
can
not
be
all
very
bad.
welcome, as can the death card. You know, it can be a great relief. Also, like, for, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to apply to an emotional thing.
Nope.
Like, when I was a travel agent, we used to have a drawer in the filing cabinet called dead. And that was the word we used. And that was like, once somebody had picked up their holiday tickets, we had no more work to do. We'd booked the holiday, we'd taken the money, we'd sent it all off, we'd got their tickets through, we'd checked everything, we'd phoned them up and said, your tickets are here. They'd come in and picked up their tickets. That was it. Our job was done. So right, filed in dead.
Makes sense.
No need to keep it out on the desk anymore, or yeah, you know, it's dead. And we didn't think anything of it, that's what that drawer was called.
Yeah.
It's in the dead files.
So this isn't always a card that's like, oh, terrible things are going to happen to you. It's just
Yeah,
the irrevocable end of
yeah. Or it
something.
might even
Well,
be, what if it came up as an advice card? It might be saying, whatever that thing is you've been working on for years, finish it. Get it
yeah.
over and done with and finished.
Yeah.
Finish it off.
Yep.
It's not necessarily saying, it might be saying, look, just destroy it and don't bother with it anymore. Or it might just be saying, complete it, finish it.
Finish it. What about reversed?
My immediate reaction is something that you thought was over isn't.
Oh, I think that's worse. It's
Could
like,
be, yeah. Or
just
it
leave
could
it
or it
be.
could be it was a very painful death. It might make it
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
Or it could be as well, nothing to do with death. It could be to do with things being pinned down, like, you know, or to do with things, people, well, you could go the literal thing, like, these people are stabbing you in the back, you know, they're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about, you know, there is that. Let's not forget that one.
I completely forgot that one. Very
Like,
good point.
talking about you behind your back, you know, and these are backstabbers. These are might be nice to your face, but
Yeah.
what you want to know is what they're doing and saying behind your back.
And that's probably the most common, happening, as far as, you're not going to see the death of something or the ending of something every time you see this card.
No.
But people do this shit all the time where they talk behind your back or stab you in the back.
Well,
That's
like that
which
again.
sucks.
That story that I keep bringing up. But if this card had come up like, can you trust this person? No, no. What he's
No.
doing and saying behind your back is, horrible. No, do not trust him.
What I want to know is what this guy did to piss that many people off. That
Yeah,
they would fly into that kind of a rage to
yeah,
kill him that dead.
yeah.
It's like, wow.
Yeah, I don't see this necessarily, or maybe hardly ever, as literally being physical death, but it could be trying to finish someone's business off, finish someone's popularity off, or there could be all sorts of, it's nasty. The card can be very nasty.
It could totally be revenge.
Yeah,
And revenge is an ugly
yeah,
thing. A very ugly thing.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you said you had a story
this is not
for
going to
us.
end well. I do have a story. It was when I was on the market, and this guy, young guy, came to the market and he said, do you do readings on boxing? And I went, well, I can do a reading on anything. I don't really know very much about boxing, but I'll try. Right. And he went, well, I used to do boxing, and then I had an injury, and I want to know whether it's all right for me to go back into like competitive boxing.
Be prepared for any question.
Yes. I thought, okay, all right, fair enough. And this is a good few years ago. Now, I got the Ten of Swords came up in a strategic place in the reading, and I looked at it, but I didn't see the Ten of Swords as being him. I saw this as being, I said, you should definitely go back into this. I said, because I was seeing it, when they can do the 10, 9, 8, and I saw it as somebody that he'd kind of knocked out, and I went, yes, definitely go back into the boxing. Now, I might have seen it the other way, saying, no, you're going to get knocked out, but I didn't see it as him. I honestly saw it as the opponent.
Oh.
So yeah, that was how I saw that card. That is my Ten of Swords sort of story.
Oh, I love
Again,
that.
I thought the tarot knows I know nothing about boxing, right? So therefore, it has sent me this card for a really good reason. And it's not to say, no, don't go back into it. It's to say, no, you're going to kind of like, you're going to do that. You're going to knock someone down.
And such a dark card, but you were still open-minded enough to trust that instinct of what you felt when you saw it. That is tarot reading.
I just think if it was saying, no, don't go back into it, it would have given me maybe something like the Ace of Swords downwards.
Right.
It gave me somebody has won this boxing match. This is saying, no, you're going to be a champion boxer. This has been sent to me for that reason, because it's the nearest thing that the universe could send me to show how good at boxing you are.
And then the 10, 9, 8.
Yeah.
That was
I know.
countdown.
I know. So that's my Ten of Swords kind of standout story, really.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
We got some cards to share.
We have. I've just brought the one today.
I'm going to share one of mine first because it's
Okay.
it's really sad, and we don't want to end on this sad note. But this is a very personal
I
card to
wouldn't
me.
exactly call mine happy, but
No, this is a very personal.
oh yes, you've showed me this card before. It's amazing.
This
but
card
it is very sad.
means so much to me. It's from the Victorian Romantic, and when I was looking through it, I had Paul on the phone with me, and I got to this card and I started bawling. I mean, I just lost it. And this woman here, she's the white waves, the white water from the waves, and
Yes.
she is putting her arms around him and bringing him into the sea. He's dead. And the reason it affected me so much is my daddy drowned when I was about 9 years old. And I always thought of him being alone under there. And when I saw this card,
Oh,
I
Sharon, yeah,
saw
yeah,
her, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Cradling him. And I'm going to cry, but I'm not going to cry. But she loves him. The sea did love my daddy, and my daddy loved the sea.
right.
So this card, even though it breaks my heart to see it, it also gives me comfort, if that makes any kind of
Yes,
sense.
yes, yes, yeah.
And it's
Oh, it's a beautiful card. That
doesn't
is a
have
beautiful Ten of Swords.
it is. It doesn't have any of the betrayal. No betrayal at all in this card. No revenge, just she's bringing him home.
It's
So,
gorgeous.
I
Yeah,
love that card.
that's
Love it.
amazing. That is really amazing.
That's the Victorian Romantic by Baba Studios.
Yeah,
Most primal reaction I ever had to any tarot card,
yes.
period. So
Wow.
I did want to share that.
Yes, thank you.
What have we got?
Well, I just
Oh,
thought I'd go for the Tarot of the New Vision just to see what's going on if you're looking at it from the sea. And, I'm just sort of feeling there's no, in this version, this really is, he's dead.
aw, and she's finding his body.
This is definitely death to me.
Yeah,
Like dead, dead, dead. This is not. I mean, I suppose you could ignore the figure in the cloak depending on your reading, but I don't think the artist is trying to portray anything allegorical, like, no, it's just pinning something down or being stabbed in the back or whatever. I just think someone has found a kind of irreversibly dead body.
yeah, yeah. Look at that. The way her fists are, like, that's that, oh my God, getting ready to, oh, that's sad. Ten of Swords is just sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think she was the one who killed him. I think she's finding him.
Okay. Yes, I suppose that's open to interpretation. Yeah.
And I was only going to bring one card, but this card, this is one of the most brutal 10 of Swords to me in the world. It's from the Alice Tarot from Baba Studios. And this is one of the reasons I never liked Alice in Wonderland. That is a plate of eaten oysters. And there is a part of Alice in Wonderland where she meets the carpenter and the walrus, and the
Yes.
walrus is always crying, and he tells about the story about the happy little oysters that were so friendly and how he had to eat them. He betrayed them. He got so friendly, and then he can't stop crying. Do you remember that part of Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah.
That is those sweet little oysters on that plate. Ah.
Oh my God.
I found this, and even though there's no blood, no gore, no nothing, that story, knowing that story from Alice in Wonderland made this one of the most horrendous Ten of Swords because those oysters were so sweet and friendly and loving.
Does this card make you want to be a vegetarian or a vegan?
Oh, no, no. No. The first time an oyster smiles at me, I won't eat it, but up until then, it's fair game.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm
Because
allergic to
he's made
oysters.
them
It
all
would kill me.
characters. It is, yeah, he's made them all real, hasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. And it really that part there were several parts of Alice in Wonderland that devastated me, even as a grown up. And that was the biggest one, those oysters. And
Right.
when I saw that Ten of Swords, I said, "Oh my God, I love this deck."
Wow. Well, I'm looking forward to doing this Alice comparison.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh my God. So yeah, so we have come to the end of the minors of the swords, apart from the court cards, which are all coming up next time. So yeah, Ten of Swords. Hopefully, if it does come up in a reading, it's going to come up in a place where it's welcomed and where someone is wanting to kind of like end something once and for all, you know. And sometimes, what do they call it, having to be cruel to be kind and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily always bad, but it's ruthless within itself.
It is. It is.
But I still think, having gone through all of the 10 swords with you in the last sort of week or so, to me, the standout, most brutal one was the 3.
The 3 was rough.
No,
Yeah.
but the 3 and the 9, I think, for me.
Because they had to survive with those wounds. You know what I mean?
It was there was something torturous about some of those 3s.
Yeah.
And I think the 9 has its own form of torture built into it, actually.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're talking about your friend and all the abuse and everything with the 8, but sometimes emotional abuse can be absolute living hell and torture, even if the person never receives
Never
any.
touches you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people live with that on a day-to-day basis in one way or another.
And that's okay, like what right back to the 8 of Swords. You know, a lot of people say, well, why doesn't she just leave? Or why doesn't he just leave? Or why do they stay? It's a psychological mind game that you don't even realize you have. You cannot judge. We cannot judge when we read these cards and see someone in a situation that we would be able to walk away from. We don't know what's been done to them. Yeah, you cannot judge when you read the cards, period. I know I said that like 6 times, but I really mean it.
You just have to be the messenger. And that sounds simple. And sometimes it is simple. Sometimes it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other episode.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So y'all take a second and click like, hit subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know some of your variations or see your cards or your interpretations. We've all got something to learn from each other because we're all different. Love to see your comments. Take some time now. Bye.
Bye for now.